Welcome back to The Explainer. Today, we're tackling a subject that could literally make or break your future: investigating and verifying a Washington attorney's credentials. We're going to walk through exactly how to ensure the person sitting across from you at that consultation table is actually legally authorized to protect your rights.
Think about this for a second. Do you really know who's representing you? Hiring a lawyer is usually one of the most critical decisions you'll ever make, and it's almost always happening during a highly stressful life event. But here is a truly surprising fact. Every single year, people unknowingly hand over their hard-earned money and their legal fates to individuals practicing law without a license or lawyers whose licenses have actually been suspended for ethical violations. The hidden, high-stakes risks of the unauthorized practice of law are absolutely catastrophic. Verifying an attorney's credentials isn't just a good idea, it's an absolute necessity for your legal protection.
So, we're going on a bit of an investigator's journey today. Here's our roadmap. Number 1, introduction to bar status. 2, a step-by-step guide to checking status. 3, understanding bar statuses. 4, spotting red flags. 5, additional resources. And 6, our conclusion. Let's get you the exact digital toolkit you need.
Section 1, Introduction to Bar Status.
Okay, before we can start our investigation, we need to establish the foundational knowledge of what these terms actually mean out in Washington state. Out here, the licensing, regulation, and ethical oversight of legal professionals are completely governed under the constitutional authority of the Washington Supreme Court. They then delegate the day-to-day administration of all this to the Washington State Bar Association, or the WSBA. When you look up an attorney, the absolute gold standard you are hoping to see is active status. This means the lawyer is fully eligible to practice law in Washington state and to appear in Washington courts. This is the baseline credential you want to confirm before you ever sign a retainer or pay a consultation fee. Now, on the complete opposite end of the spectrum is disbarment. This means the individual is entirely ineligible to practice law in Washington due to a severe disciplinary sanction. Only the Washington Supreme Court actually has the power to suspend or disbar a lawyer. If a lawyer violates the rules of professional conduct, the WSBA's Office of Disciplinary Counsel steps in to investigate, and the consequences can be career-ending. If someone is disbarred, they cannot legally represent you, period.
Section 2, Step-by-Step Guide to Checking Status. All right, now that we know what we're looking for, let's get into the practical toolkit. We're going to walk through how you can conduct your own digital investigation, and honestly, this process is straightforward but incredibly powerful. Step 1, just navigate your web browser to the official WSBA legal directory. You can find this easily right on the Washington State Bar Association's website. Step 2, utilize their advanced search function. Step 3, enter the attorney's name, or even better, their specific license number if you have it. And finally, Step 4, review that profile. The directory includes all individuals currently licensed to practice law in Washington state. It gives you real-time access to their administrative status, contact information, and public disciplinary history. It's your first and most important line of defense. Section 3, Understanding Bar Statuses.
So, you've run the search. What exactly are you looking at? Let's break down the critical differences between the core statuses to decode the specific results you might find on an attorney's profile. We already talked about active and disbarred, but let's look at those middle two. Inactive is a voluntary status. This usually just means the lawyer isn't practicing law in Washington right now. Maybe they moved out of state or changed careers entirely. They're ineligible to practice while on this status, but they can apply to return to active status later. Suspended, on the other hand, means they are ineligible to practice for a specified period. This could be an interim suspension pending an investigation or a final disciplinary sanction. The bottom line: if a lawyer is inactive, suspended, or disbarred, they cannot legally be your lawyer today.
I also want to highlight a unique edge case you might stumble across: pro bono status. This means the attorney is technically eligible to practice law, but their scope of authority is highly restricted. They are strictly limited to providing free pro bono services through a qualified legal services provider, so they cannot take you on as a paying private client. This really emphasizes why you have to read the exact status carefully. Just seeing the word eligible isn't always enough if their license type limits how they can represent you.
Section 4, Spotting Red Flags. Now that we fully understand the statuses, let's dig a little deeper into the disciplinary history and the warning signs you absolutely must watch out for during a consultation or when reviewing a profile online. When you pull up that WSBA profile, you want to see a pristine, clean record.
But what if you don't? Well, the WSBA database provides access to notices of disciplinary action dating all the way back to 1984. And for cases decided in 2013 or later, it generally includes the official decision documents right there. If the Office of Disciplinary Counsel has investigated and the lawyer received an admonition, a reprimand, or a suspension, it's going to be listed here. Finding a history of disciplinary notices is a major red flag that warrants some serious questions before you even think about proceeding with that attorney.
But discipline isn't the only reason a lawyer gets suspended. So the really crucial point here is understanding administrative suspensions. A lawyer can be suspended just for failing to comply with basic administrative duties. Think about things like non-payment of license fees, failing to complete their mandatory continuing education, failing to provide trust account information, not disclosing their insurance, or even simply having an inaccurate address on file. Now, you might think, oh, that's just a technicality, no big deal. Actually, scratch that, it's a very big deal. Failing to report a client trust account, which is exactly where your money is held, is a massive red flag for a lack of transparency and professional responsibility.
Now, here is a very surprising and vital fact directly from the WSBA regarding professional liability insurance. They explicitly state, the Washington State Bar Association does not independently verify the insurance information provided by lawyers. Let that sink in for a second. The directory might say they have malpractice insurance just because the lawyer checked a box on a form, but the bar doesn't guarantee it's current or adequate to cover your potential claim. This teaches us a vital best practice. You must independently verify malpractice coverage during your initial consultation. Just ask the lawyer directly about their insurance rather than taking the online directory at face value. Open communication and transparency right from the start are absolutely key. Another massive red flag to watch out for is the unauthorized practice of law. The Washington Supreme Court established the Practice of Law Board specifically to monitor and protect the public from unlicensed practice. A super common issue to be aware of involves individuals calling themselves notarios. In some other countries, a notario publico actually has legal training, but in Washington state, notarios are absolutely not licensed to practice law. Always check the WSBA directory to verify if someone is a legitimate lawyer, a limited licensed legal technician, or a limited practice officer. If they aren't in the directory as active, just walk away. Section 5. Additional resources. So, if the WSBA directory leaves you with questions, or if you just need to find legitimate, vetted help from scratch, where else can you turn? Well, there are some excellent alternative, official methods to cross-check credentials. The King County Bar Association operates a highly respected lawyer referral service that connects consumers directly with vetted legal professionals. If you happen to be a low-income resident seeking civil legal assistance, the Clear Hotline is a fantastic centralized intake system. There are also specialized hotlines out there for eviction and foreclosure assistance. Leveraging these local legal communities and online tools is just a brilliant way to ensure you're finding verified, safe representation. And here is a fantastic secondary verification check, the Washington State Courts Case Search Portal, which you can find at www.courts.wa.gov. This system is maintained by the Administrative Office of the Courts, and it updates daily at 3 a.m. You can use this portal to search by the prospective attorney's name just to see if they are actively litigating real cases in municipal, district, superior, and appellate courts. While it isn't the official bar licensing record, seeing that an attorney actually practices the type of law they claim to in the courtrooms they claim to be in is a great way to verify their real-world experience. Section 6. Conclusion. While we've covered a lot of ground today on our investigator's journey, from understanding what active status really means to navigating the WSBA directory and spotting those critical administrative and disciplinary red flags. Of course, I do need to provide our professional disclaimer. This explainer is intended for informational purposes only and does not constitute nor should it be considered as legal advice. The procedures and online systems we discussed today can absolutely change. For specific legal counsel or to inquire about any recent updates and procedures, please consult directly with a currently qualified attorney or contact the WSBA Service Center directly. You can reach them at 800-945-9722 or just look them up online. And hey, please share this information to help others in their legal journey. Doing your homework is completely imperative. Hiring a lawyer is a major commitment of your time, your money, and your trust. You now have the exact blueprint to pull back the curtain and ensure the person representing you is fully credentialed, ethical, and actively licensed in Washington state. So I leave you with this final provocative thought. Before you sign that retainer, before you hand over a single dollar, will you make the search? Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and stay informed out there.